Application questions. Now we need to use the knowledge that we've gained in our understanding of expressions and put it into use as we clarify and analyze these questions. The first one, it says a car hire company charges the clients 250 per hired car per day. Then clients are charged 8 rand per kilometer traveled. We are required to write an expression for the hiring of a car per day. Now let's look at the expression, at the information that we are given. We are told that there is 250 per day, which is a value that does not change. However, we are told that there is also 8 rand per kilometer, which means as you travel, that money is going to be increased based on the kilometers you are traveling. So to write that as an expression, we then say, let's take the value that changes first, and we say that is 8 rand, and we put X as a variable to say X will then represent the kilometers that you're going to travel. And then we say plus 250 because that one is a value that does not change. So that is an expression for us. We have a constant 250, we have X, which is a variable. So now we've written that mathematically as an expression. All right, let's see how it works in the next question. And it says, if a client hires a car to travel from Johannesburg to Mpumalanga, a return trip distance of 480 kilometers, calculate the amount they would be charged when returning the car. So what do we know about this is that one, there is a return trip, which means it's a complete trip. We don't have to double it. Secondly, the kilometers that were used were 480. So that variable is then represented by 480. So we write the expression that we have, which is 4x plus 250. And then in the place of x, we now substitute 480. So it would be 8 multiplied by 480 plus 250. Now let's work out the answer without using a calculator. Let's multiply and add and compare our answers and see which one is correct or similar in this case. For me, I would make space at the top here so that I'm able to do the calculation without interfering with the question that we are doing. And I will start with the numbers 48 multiplied by 8. And in this case, it would be 8 multiplied by 8, which is 64. And then 8 multiplied by 4, which is 32. And then add them out. 4 plus 0 is 4. 6 tens plus 2 tens is 8 tens and 300. But then I was given 480, not 48, so I'll add a 0 so that my outcome is 3,840. And then I need to add 250 to that, and the outcome there would be 40 plus 50 is 90, and then 800 and 200 hundredths would be 10 hundredths. In this case, you will write the 0, and then the 1 becomes 1,000, and that would be 3,000 plus 1,000, which is 4,000. So it's 4,090. That is our outcome. So when we write the answer, we'll then have 4,090 rands. Because we are dealing with money, the unit must show. All right, let's look at the next application question. Thabo looks after his neighbor's pets in the holidays. He gets paid 40 rand per day for the dog and 25 rand per day for each cat. Now, write an expression that describes the amount that he earns per day if the neighbor has X dogs and Y cats. All right, what do we know from that is that each dog is 40 rands and each cat is 25. So if the number of dogs is represented by x, we'll write it as 40x. And the number of cats is represented by y, it would be 25y. Then we add these together, that becomes our expression. The next part then says, how much money would he make if the neighbor has 1 dog and 2 cats? So now we write our own expression that we have created, plus 25y, and in the place of x we substitute with 1 dog. So it would be 40 multiplied by 1, which is the 1 dog, plus 25 multiplied by 2, which is 2 cats. So 40 multiplied by 1 is 40, and 25 multiplied by 2 is 50. So 40 plus 50 then gives us 90 rands. That's the amount he's going to get per day. All right? Let's move on to the next one. To earn extra money, Tom picks fruits at the local farm. His daily pay is 90 rand. And he also gets 5 rand for every basket of fruit he picks. We are to write an expression for the amount of money he earns in a day. Again, we look at 90 is the daily pay, so it does not change. However, every time he picks a basket, he gets 5 rand per basket. So that is the part that varies. Again, we will then write the part that varies first, and we say 5 for 5 rand, and X for the part that varies, which is per basket that is going to pick. And then we add 90, which is the part that does not change. So our expression is 5x plus 90. Now the next question is, how much would he be paid if he picked 15 baskets of fruit? That means in the place of x, we are now going to put 15. So it would be 5 multiplied by 15, our value of x, plus 90. Quickly, then calculate that on your own and see what answer you get. As you do that, remember the order of operations. We start with the multiplication and then we do the addition. And that would be, as we multiply 5 and 15, our outcome would be 75 plus 90. 75 plus 90 is 165. But then we are working with money, so our answer would be 165 rands. Okay, let's look at the next question. We have a rectangle, and the question says, a rectangle has a length of 3 times long as its width. If the width is x centimeters, write the expression for the perimeter of the rectangle. They have given us a shape of a rectangle. We know that the width, which is the breadth of the rectangle, is x. And then we are told that the length is 3 times x. So it's 3x. And then we are to write the expression for the perimeter. Now, perimeter is the distance around the shape. So which means that we will then have 3x, which is the longest side, plus x, which is the width, plus 3x, the top side, plus x on the other side. All right, that is now our perimeter. Let's add those. 3x plus x plus 3x plus x, so it's 3 plus 1 plus 3 plus 1, which is 8x. So our perimeter there is 8x. And that's how we conclude that one. Let's move on to the next one. The next question, it reads, when Zama was asked to evaluate the expression 2n minus 1 plus 6n for n equals to 4, she wrote down the following. 2n minus 1 plus 6n equals to n plus 6n. which equals to 6n squared. Hence, when she checked her answer, where n equals to 4, we substitute in the answer that she got, and she had to multiply 6 with 4 squared, and that gave her 6 times 16, which gave her 96. Now, explain where Zama went wrong and why. Let's go back to what she did in her calculations. So, what do you think? Where did Zama go wrong? Can you explain why? (2n minus 1), and she comes out with n. Those two are not like terms. So she subtracted 1 from 2n and remained with n as the answer, and that's where she went wrong, because those two are not like terms. Instead, she should have added 2n and 6n, because those are like terms. Secondly, when she moved to the next step, it's n plus 6n. She multiplied the variables to get n squared, and yet the sum said add. So she made 2 mistakes in that, and that's why the outcome is wrong. This is what she should have done. It should have been 2n minus 1 plus 6n, which was supposed to be adding the like terms, and it would be 8n minus 1. And then you substitute 4, because they said the value of n is 4. So it would be 8 multiplied by 4 minus 1, which was going to give you 32. 32 minus 1, which then is 31. That's the answer she was supposed to get, not 96. And so that's where she went wrong. All right, let's then move on to the next one. The question says, a boy's age is given as X. The relationship between the boy's age and his mother's age is given as 25 plus X. How can this relationship be used to find the mother's age when the boy is 11 years old? We are given that the mother's age is 25 plus X, so we then say 25 plus X, and then the boy's age when he is 11, that means where X, remember the boy's age is X, when he is 11, it means that it would be 25 plus 11, which gives us 36. So it would be, the mother's age would be 36 years old. The mother will be 36 years old when the boy is 11. Right, let's move on to the next one. The next question. Ashraf and Hendrik have a disagreement about whether the terms 7x squared y cubed and 301 y cubed x squared are like terms or not. Hendrik thinks they are not, because in the first term, the x squared comes before y cubed, whereas in the second term, the y cubed comes before x squared. Explain to Hendrik why his argument is not correct. How are you going to explain that? Where would you start to assist Hendrik to understand? Look at the terms that we are given. We have 2 terms. That is our first term, and that is the second term. Look at those 2 terms and see how to help Hendrik. When you look at the terms, you'd realize that x squared and y cubed are multiplied, and multiplication is commutative. What that means is, even if it was numbers, 5 multiplied by 7 and 7 multiplied by 5, the outcome is still the same, 35. So how the numbers are arranged does not change, will not alter the answer. So in this case, it means that x squared, if x squared comes first, like in the first term, or it's written at the end, like in the second term, they are still the same. So these are like terms. That x squared and that x squared and the y cubed can then be added together as like terms. Thank you very much. At this stage, let's go for a break. See you soon.